Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, we just have a bunch of new card reveals to take a look at here. A bunch of stuff from Heatwave Arena and beyond, including some megas that I kind of just want to talk about again. So yeah, the first card I think we can take a look at here is this Shaman from the set Heatwave Arena, which will become part of Destined Rivals in May, which is the next set after Journey Together. Shaman is a really important card for the future because it has 8 HP, so sadly you can't find it with Poffin, but it does have the very powerful ability Flower Curtain, which says prevent all damage done to your benched Pokemon without a Roblox by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So a lot to break down here, but basically it just means that small HP Pokemon like Charmanders or whatever, I know Charmander gets used a lot as an example, but just like evolving basics, pretty much. Things like Curlia and Ralts, for example, will get bench protection again post rotation when Manaphy rotates. But this won't give you protection for stuff like Pheasantipity or Squawkabilly or any other like fragile two prizer that might be on your bench. So it is kind of cool in that sense because I guess it's like pushing some more. Yeah, I guess it's like pushing players to use more single prize Pokemon, but it's also just saying, maybe you should think twice before, evolving your benched Pokemon into their corresponding EX, basically. So I kind of like this. I think this is a cool take on bench barrier. It's a bit more interesting than the usual stuff. 8 HP does mean it's going to be a bit annoying to find. Outside of grass decks like Diplin, which will just be able to, run what is it, Bug Catcher set, I think it's called. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck and then take 2 in any combination of basic grass Pokemon, or just grass Pokemon in general, actually, and basic grass energy, which is a very, very strong item card. So I do think this Shaman will see a bunch of play, though, but it just depends if you're running enough Nest Balls, really, because, yeah, aside from that, it is a very powerful ability, but you'll have to find a way of getting it onto the bench. We do also have this Misty Starmie and Misty Starmie and Misty Staryu. That's what I meant to say there. So sadly, neither of these cards are that impressive. Like they're both pretty terrible. But but to be honest, they are useful because we do have the Misty's Gyarados that was revealed like ages ago. So that Misty's Gyarados basically just says for 1 water energy, you can look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and then I think you have to discard them, but you do 70 damage for each Misty's Pokemon you find there. Yeah, and I think you have to discard the Misty's Pokemon. So honestly, quite nice. It just means that you will have to run the Staryu, I guess, anyway for the damage output, but because you don't want to start with it, of course, in the active spot. But it would be nice to have 4 Staryu and 4 Starmie in that Gyarados list. And there's also going to be a reprint of the item card called Sacred Ash, which basically just allows you to shuffle 5 in any combination of Pokemon from your discard pile back into your deck. So it's just easier to just chain these. And there's also like a Psyduck, which can put itself on top of the deck. So yeah, plenty of nice options here for a fun rogue deck. I don't think it'll be anything too crazy, but definitely looking forward to playing Misty's Gyarados when it drops. And I'm also going to go on a limb here and assume we'll get some like Misty trainer support, just because all the other trainers have gotten at least something in the form of a tool card, stadium supporter, that kind of thing, like Ethan did. So I'm going to assume we'll see, some more Misty stuff revealed soon. So yeah, that's pretty cool to see. Also got some more Ethan's Pokemon. We've got a Pinsir and a Sudowoodo. Ethan's Pinsir, I think, is definitely the stronger of the two. It does 70 damage for 3 colors. And if any of your Ethan's Pokemon were KO'd by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon during their last turn, this attack will do 100 more damage. So you basically just get a 1 KO on Charizard, because it's a grass type. So that's kind of why it's in here. Also, Ho-Oh-EX can also power this up in 1 turn, basically, by attaching 2 Fire Energy from your hand to it while it's on the bench. So that's really cool. And it just means you can kind of just surprise KO a Charizard out of nowhere with Pinsir. So if you are actually running like Ho-Oh with like Macargo and maybe Typhlosion, but you probably don't need Typhlosion to be honest. You could probably just play like Macargo as your main attacker. Then you've got Ho-Oh as like a reserve option. And then this Pinsir can just be here for those surprise return KOs as well as, anti-Charizard. So that's really cool. So yeah, Ethan's Pinsir looks pretty good. Also got Ethan's Sudowoodo. This one's a bit more on the memeish side, but attempt Mimicry says flip a coin, and if heads, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. And to be honest, we are getting megas this year, and some of these mega Pokemon have some really, really scary attacks. So just being able to copy a Mega Evolution attack, and maybe not want to kill them, but still do a ton of damage to them, 50% chance, it's pretty good. Like for 2 colorless energy, like you will have to weigh in the fact that this might just flip tails and, it'll be nothing and just be a terrible, terrible card, and you'll wish you never played it. But at the same time, this could be a lot of fun. And if we ever get like Fliptini coming back, just a way to reflip coins, then this could be really good. So yeah, I'm excited to play this. Also, again, you can charge it out with Ho-Ho, just like Ethan's Pinsir. So yeah, very exciting cards. Also got this Zeraora because, who asked for another Zeraora card? Personally, I didn't. I think we've got enough of these already. But yeah, this one has the attack Thunder Blitz. For 3 lightning energy, discard all energy, and then it does 210 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon EX. So sadly, for us GLC fans, yeah, this card is useless. But for standard, it can snipe if Vesendipity, which is pretty big. A lot of the Megas have like a ton of HP, so you won't be able to snipe a Mega. But if we just go back to Shaman here, Shaman will not protect things like Vesendipity. It's just going to protect the little guys. So Zeraora could be used in something like Miraidon, for example, just as a nice way of getting an easy 2-prize KO. Also on stuff like, well, I was going to say Ogerpon, but yeah, Ogerpon's a Terra type, so you can't do bench damage to Terra types, can you? So yeah, bit of a shame on that front, but I still think this is kind of worth mentioning and keeping an eye on. Could be pretty good. I also want to leave the Megas for last just because they were revealed more recently, but we'll talk about the Arven stuff first. I think everyone's unanimously agreed this stuff's just pretty bad, but this Arven's Mabostive EX has, yeah, it's got 2 okay attacks. Hustle Tackle does 30, but it can do 150 if his Pokemon has no damage counters on it. And it's for 1 colorless energy, and this card in general just uses colorless, so you don't have to actually play Dark Energy in the Arven's deck, which is quite nice. Just means it's very flexible and very easy to play. But yeah, 150 just isn't a lot of damage. Like, that's the main problem here. And Boss's Headbutt, sorry, what did not happen there? Boss's Headbutt does 210, and during the next turn, this Pokemon can't use Boss's Headbutt. So that's not like that bad because it always means you'll get a 2-hit KO no matter what, which I always appreciate. It's not like, oh, this Pokemon can't attack next turn or something useless and garbage like that. But at the same time, it's still only 210 damage. Doesn't feel great without modifiers. We do have this Greedent, which just says when you evolve it, you can retrieve up to 2 Arven Sandwich from your discard pile into your hand. And Arven Sandwich is an item that says heal 30 damage from just your active Pokemon, so it's already a worse potion. However, if that Pokemon is an Arven's Pokemon, heal 100 instead. So the whole gimmick behind this deck is you just want to spam a bunch of sandwiches and try and heal all the damage off your Mabostive, and then loop the sandwiches with Greedent. Well, to be honest, I think the easier way of doing things is actually just to use a Professor Tour scenario and just loop Arben's Mabostive that way and not bother with the sandwich. But, maybe against a spread deck it's better, but yeah, it just seems a bit rough, to be honest. Like, the whole deck is just rough, no pun intended. But yeah, it's just a bit rough. Like, there's not really enough damage here. Like, the combos are a bit weak. One thing I will say is that Mega Gardevoir looks to be really good. And if you can get some damage modifiers in there, then maybe Hustle Tackle can 1-KO a Mega Gardevoir for an easy 3 prizes. That's nice, but aside from some type advantage, I don't think the Arven's deck is going to be doing too much. Unless it gets like a bunch more support that's really good. We also have the Megas to talk about again. I just want to go over these quickly again because we did actually get an item reveal that I didn't talk about in my Megas video. This just says, during this turn, attacks used by your fighting Pokemon deal plus 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, which just means you can play a bunch of these and just want to kill anything in the game, basically with Mega Brave, doing 270, which is, yeah, very scary for Lucario. I do kind of like Lucario more, actually, now that I've looked at it more. Like Aura Jab, 130, accelerates up to 3 basic Fire Energy cards from your discard pile. I think this could be pretty good, but it really just depends on what you're charging up, right? Because you don't want 50% of your deck to be Lucario is only in here for Aura Jab. Like, I don't think that's good enough, not when this thing is giving up 3 prize cards, which is a lot, that's a lot of tempo swing to just be throwing on the board. So yeah, I'll just be careful with that. But Mega Brave is a very good attack thanks to that item. Like, if it was just doing 270, then you know, be a bit more shaky, a bit more dicey because there's just so many tanky Pokemon now. But Premium Power Pro does mean at least once a game, preferably twice, you'll be able to just one hit KO anything with Mega Brave. So yeah. I mean, you probably won't be one hit killing Mega Gardevoir because it has 360 HP and resistance to fighting. So it's, yeah, it may as well be 400 HP. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Mega Gardevoir, I think, is still the most scary of these two Megas just because it kind of implies we'll get to 400 HP for Megas. Because, like, the thing is, Gardevoir is just not a very tanky Pokemon. Like, it's unanimously agreed Gardevoir is a flimsy thing. You know, it's 130 HP most of the time when it's a stage 2 single price Pokemon. And, like, the Gardevoir GX, I believe, was also on the low end. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Mega Metagross ends up being, like, well, not 400, but maybe, like, 380, 390, I could see. 380, I think, would be ridiculous in the game right now, but 360, you know, it's a three prizer as well. It's also going to evolve from a single prize Pokemon, so you're going to jump from having like 8 HP to having 360, which is ludicrous. Like the power creep is real in this game for sure, but yeah, it's a very, very scary looking card. Also, I really don't agree with the fact that it evolves from Curlia. Like, you wouldn't Mega Evolve Curlia into a Mega Gardevoir. You would evolve Curlia into Gardevoir and then Mega Evolve the Gardevoir. So, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not a huge fan of how they've done this mechanic, to be honest, but it is what it is, and this is only 2 Megas. Also, something that I didn't mention in the video that I did talking about these is that Mega Lucario has the attack Mega Brave, and Mega Gardevoir has the attack Mega Symphonia, which means they will be part of Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia, which were sets that were discovered through trademarks. And these will likely release around August in Japan. So we could be seeing these as soon as like September time, maybe? Like September, October, November. I'm assuming we'll get these. So we will get at least one set this year with Megas in, which is cool. How many Megas we will get, I don't know, because apparently like Gen 10 is supposed to be releasing next year, which is it's a bit scary. But yeah, that means that we probably, unless I mean they're right, they could bring back Mega Evolution for Gen 10, right? So that would give them an excuse to basically just continue the Megas in the TCG, right? That makes sense. But at the same time, if they don't do that and they do something entirely different, then I have no idea what they're going to do for the Mega mechanic, because they might just print 4 Megas and call it a day. Like, we don't know yet. So I'm assuming we'll see more Megas, though. Like, I'm assuming we'll see a bunch more, but how many more? You know, is it going to be like V Stars where there's only a few? Or is it going to be more like V Maxes where there's a ton? So yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this. But yeah, very curious. I think, unironically, though, the cards I'm most excited for are Misty, Staryu, and Starmie, just because I really like the look of the Gyarados deck. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you think about these cards down below. Are you excited for Mega Evolution and these other cards? And yeah, thank you for watching.